Honestly, one of the biggest problems when buying hardware for Linux is assurance. How can you be sure if something works as expected? Back when I bought my PreSonus Revelator IO44 last year, I did do my research. I wanted an audio interface that for once supports 48 volts for my XLR mic, which can permanently save and utilize voice presets for better clarity, and it was. Kind of. See, the thing is that PreSonus does not officially support Linux, however, they also mention that you don't necessarily need a supported operating system for it to work, unlike some other brands. Since the interface also saves voice presets directly to the device itself, I didn't expect many issues with it, but whenever I wanted it to use on Linux, then it started to behave weirdly. First up, the microphone was only picked up in a somewhat weird stereo configuration, whereas the sound is a bit more leaned towards the left. Interestingly, this seems to be an issue that is exclusive to Linux, since on Android and even on Windows prior to the audio driver installation, you only get one audio track. Not this weird, somewhat left experience. Kind of odd, but I could live with that. What really started to annoy me though was that for once, the line in port just didn't work at all on Linux. And since I also started using the microphone of my headset because I didn't want to set up my mic every time I finished a video, it constantly had voice loopback enabled. And the onboard controls only work for the XLR port? What? Now I don't blame 100% of this on PreSonus, since this is an issue that only occurs on Linux, but it's still some very weird behavior and I'll leave it at that. The point is, I didn't really like it that much as I thought I would, and since I plan to get a second XLR microphone for my desk as well, I thought to myself, why don't I get something a bit more basic and already has some really nice reviews on Linux? And my choice fell on the Scarlett 2i2 3rd generation audio interface from Focusrite, which allegedly works beautifully on Linux since it doesn't need any software to run at all. Now, the PreSonus IO44 also didn't need special software, however, it behaves way better when one is installed. So this is a huge plus for the Scarlett. Now, I won't really get into the specs since this isn't a review of the interface itself, but more of a what is the actual experience with Linux video. But generally speaking, the interface itself looks really nice. What I really like about it is that it has all of its buttons and control knobs in the front, which should be much easier to control if I have it further back on my desk. The build quality is fine. The case consists of plastic and a thin layer of aluminum, and the interface does not really feel heavy. I sadly don't have that many other interfaces to compare against if that's a good or a bad thing. The knobs have a really nice resistance to them, which is great for dialing in the preamps and overall volume. The buttons are nothing special and feel a bit clicky, if you know what I mean. Okay, so what do these buttons actually do? 48 volt is self-explanatory. It's phantom power, which some microphones might need to run properly. Inst mode is for instruments and it just depends on the impedance of the connected device. This mode is only meant for instruments which sound too quiet. The air mode lifts up the higher frequencies a bit, which can give you a bit more clarity, especially for sounds. Oh yeah, and one more thing that you should consider when buying this interface is that you might need a headphone adapter depending on the headset you use. Okay, but enough of that. Let's talk about using it on Linux. The first thing that you will notice is, regardless of the operating system you use, that the Scarlett 2i2 is not a plug-and-play device and it will advertise itself to the OS as a mass storage device, which contains a download link for the official software. Now, like I said, this interface does not necessarily need this software to run properly. What you want to do is to unplug the device, hold down the 48 volts button, plug it back in and keep holding it for around 5 seconds. Now it's in its operational mode. Some videos and even the official guide tell you that just holding the button for 5 seconds without disconnecting should also deactivate storage mode, but that didn't work on my device, so maybe you just wanna use my method. Alright, so now it's registered as an audio device, but we still need to unlock its full potential by changing some audio configs, since Linux does not necessarily know what to do with that many inputs. Frankly, there are templates for us, which we can use. These commands tell Linux how it should handle this specific device. This of course is an extra step in terms of usability, but I actually kind of like that, since on Windows I would have to rely either on the driver or I just wouldn't know what's going on. This ensures me that the USB driver knows exactly what's on the other end, and that's pretty cool. And we're done! It works now. One thing that I should mention though is that by default, phantom power doesn't stay on after rebooting the device. But you can enable this in ALSA Mixer if you want to. Overall, I'm really happy with the new interface, since it not only provides me more flexibility than I had on my IL-44, but is also way more Linux compatible and heck, might even sound a tiny bit better. And yeah, that was my short little review about the Scarlett 2i2 on Linux, and I really hope that I build up some trust for this audio interface if you want to be a content creator on Linux. If I did, then please make sure to show it with a like, and why not also subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss out on any future videos like this. Speaking of, I think that you should also check out this video right here. And all that's left to say now is, good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are, I'll see you around.